Hello, it's been a while. I'm recording this to, first of all, say thank you to everybody that has commented on my previous videos, especially the history of the Black Label. Um, that video has been online for a couple years now, and I'm still, as of yesterday, getting at least a comment here and there. I do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's positive remarks and everybody just reminding me that we all kind of love these silly old guitars that kind of slip through the cracks of history, and it's fun to chat about. The other reason I'm bringing this video to you is that yesterday I got my second official Black Label. This 95 Fender Squire series from Mexico jazz bass. Obviously, I've already done some disassembly and a little bit of cleanup work on it, a little bit of restoration work on it. It's in pretty rough shape. Everything is generally there. The only thing that was actually missing was one screw from the pick guard, which I can replace that fairly easily. But I also had to fix the crack in the nut. The nut was broken under the D string, which I went ahead and super glued that back together and replaced, put that back in the nut slot. So we'll see how that works out. I might have to replace the nut entirely, which I actually have a nut blank, so that's not a big deal to me. As you can see, if you've watched my previous videos, this is exactly like the other jazz bass that I've had since I was 16, since 1995 actually. Also, I apologize if there's extraneous noise. The furnace is running in the other room. I'm in the basement workshop here. But I got this for a couple of reasons. One, because it's an exact replica of my favorite guitar, period. My jazz bass, it was my first bass, and my first electric guitar. It's what I learned on. It's what I spent the most time playing in bands on, and so on. I've had a couple of precision basses, and they just didn't quite do it for me. I've never owned any other jazz bass, and I've played a few, including some other Mexicans from that same era, and just, I don't know, something about that particular jazz bass that I had was just, it was bolder. It had a tone that was bigger and boomier, and all the things that I liked. It was louder, it played better. So I was always sort of like coming up short with finding other instruments. And then I finally, 30 years, it'll be 30 years here in a couple months, in June, since I got that jazz bass. I found this one, and I had the money for once, and so with my wife's encouragement, went ahead and got it. This poor thing, I'm guessing by the look of it, it's just sat in a corner somewhere in somebody's house for an age. It doesn't have a lot of rust on it. I guess it came from Indianapolis, from what I saw online for the post about it, or somewhere near there, which I'm in Dayton, Ohio, so that's just a little ways away, a couple hours away from where I'm at. So one nice thing about the Midwest is that while we have pretty big swings in humidity, they aren't extreme most of the time, so we don't have the rusting problems quite as badly as other areas might have. We don't have the salt in the air from the oceans to contend with. So like the hardware on this is in generally pretty good shape. The frets need a good cleaning. They're pretty gross. Fretboard needs some help, but nothing too extreme. A good polish with some steel wool, and they'll be back up. Good oiling. So my poor cat seems to be wanting to get downstairs, and she doesn't. I got the door closed, so if you can hear that. Generally speaking, like, the worst damage on it is like this type of bumps and bruises here. You know, it's clearly sat against some sort of hard furniture, not in a case for an age. The frets are, they've got some wear, but not a whole lot. So, you know, just mostly it's just going to be a process of cleaning it and getting it set back up well. This, coincidentally, as my other bass, also has a February of 1995, and I think that might be either a 19 or a 09. I'm not sure for the day, but definitely February. Looks to be 1995 since it's an MN4. The body has a stamp. No idea what it says. I'm kind of surprised by all the screw holes in it. Definitely a poplar body. I can see one seam here for sure. I don't know if that's on camera or not. I haven't looked at it very closely to see, you know, how many pieces it might be. But generally speaking, the condition of it's in pretty good shape. The pots are super dirty to the point that they are not functioning for the volumes. Like I could get the pickups to work, but I had to turn them all the way up to 10. Anything below 10 was shutting off, so I assume it's dirt in there. I'm debating on if I'm going to replace them. I'd like to, since I've modded my other one so much, I'd like to get this one to factory specs. You know, do as much of a restoration for it as I can. It's not, you know, super great shape in terms of like, it's got dings and dents all over it, but it's not been played. It doesn't have much play wear. So I want to get it just good and cleaned up, get it functioning correctly, set up well, and then if I decide to mod it, do that. But mostly I just want to get it, you know, factory spec and see what I feel like there. Let's see. I gotta look at my notes here. So, you know, okay, so it might be kind of goofy that I bought one that is exactly like the other one I had, but I had two big questions about the black labels as a whole. One, because I've never actually played any other black labels except for the one I've owned for 30 years. So my first question is are they all as good as the one I've got? Or did I just happen to buy one that has that special something, the mojo that everybody keeps talking about? In terms of construction, this one is generally about on par with what I got in my other one. I was surprised to see that this does have a very nicely rolled over neck. Obviously, Fender was taking a good amount of time to get this play edge beveled well, and you know, just making it as comfortable as it could, even though these were, you know, the baseline budget models at like $300 new. They really clearly spent some time in the factory paying attention to the details on the fretboard. Like there's even now, you know, with this clearly sitting without a case for decades, and you know, the humidity shifts that we get here, the fretboard is, there's a little bit of a sprout here and there, but it's just, you got to kind of feel for it. Like it's down here on the, you know, the dusty end of the neck, you can feel it a little bit more, especially here on the 20th fret. But it's pretty impressive actually for something that sat around and had plenty of time to dry out and, you know, potentially get that fret sprout coming out. It's not really doing it. So that speaks to the build quality of what they were doing in the Mexican factory at that time. You know, and it suggests that my bass is not just a one-off, that was a fairly consistent approach at the time. Um, this bass does have the same exact problems as mine does with the original electronics are pooping out on it after 30 years. So we'll see how that goes in terms of trying to get them up and running. I'm not against replacing them. I kind of like to not have to at this moment, but we'll see. Um, and because the electronics weren't working very well, I couldn't tell if it sounded good or not because it was just kind of cutting in and out. Um, so, I have high hopes for the sound because I had to replace my pickups in my other one. I replaced them with the exact same model, just a modern or a more recent build of them, and it sounded exactly the same. So, um, as I work through this, I'm not going to like do this all on camera because you can see 1,000 people doing that, and I am definitely not the most, high expert on all that. So go check out somebody that's way better at it than I am. But I will touch back with you in terms of what it's like once I get it finished. Um, if I hit any major hiccups, maybe I'll touch base at that point. But in the meantime, um, thanks again for everybody that's commented. Something that I have been kicking around for a while that I would be very interested to hear other people's opinions on is maybe doing some sort of like an interview situation with other Black Label fans. I ask stuff like, where'd you get your Black Label? What kind of mods you've done to it? That type of thing. How long have you had it? How'd you hear about them? If you're interested in participating in anything like that, as like a YouTube series or something, then feel free to comment. Um, we could do it like a Zoom call situation, something along those lines, whatever. Just I'm interested to hear other people's stories about their guitars, and Black Labels seem to have a pretty strong following, so it's pretty exciting to hear this little niche group get together and share stories. So anyway, thanks for watching. Again, enjoy your guitars. Cheers.